Axios, 13th of September 2023, the debate over Chinese election meddling in Canada is getting more heated. An intense dispute that has roiled Canadian politics in recent months is fueled by the government's recently announced public probe into alleged attempts by China and other foreign countries to meddle in Canadian elections. The big picture: Beijing appears to be attempting to erode support for U.S.-China policy among its closest friends, as seen by reports of Chinese government attempts to sway the results of Canada's elections in 2019 and 2021. Saint-Jacques, Canada's ambassador to China from 2012 to 2016, told Axios that China is targeting Canada because it is a G7 nation, has a sizable Chinese diaspora, has vulnerabilities in our electoral system, and, until recently, there were no repercussions for meddling in Canadian business. Details: earlier this year, Canadian news reports claimed that Chinese intelligence officials had channeled donations to its preferred candidates, who were members of Canada's Liberal Party led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. These reports cited anonymous Canadian intelligence officials and leaked classified documents. Moreover, it is believed that the Chinese government disseminated internet misinformation against Conservative Party candidates who were critical of China. Additionally, there are claims that Beijing has intimidated and harassed Chinese communities in Canada, making it harder for them to engage openly in Canadian politics. This week, U.S. legislators were informed by Conservative lawmaker Michael Chong of Canada's Parliament that China is attempting to gather information about him and to harass his family in Hong Kong. Chong has been critical of China's human rights record. Denying the accusations, Beijing has described them as slander and defamation. What's going on? There is a heated discussion going on about what steps the government should take to safeguard Canada's democratic processes from outside intervention while also taking into account worries that a strong-arm approach could unfairly single out Chinese Canadians. The Canadian government has come under fire from confident analysts for its delay in taking action and for not providing parliamentarians with intelligence. "We would still be oblivious to what had happened in our last two elections," Margaret McQuaig-Johnston, a board member of China's Strategic Risks Institute and a former top Canadian government official, told Axios in the absence of the intelligence leaks to the public earlier this year. "The big question will be how the government, and more precisely the Liberal Party, has been handling the information that its security services were providing," Saint-Jacques stated, following the conclusion of the public investigation. "Why weren't any strong actions taken?" According to Trudeau, he worries about foreign meddling extraordinarily seriously. The Canadian Embassy in Washington, D.C., did not immediately answer a request for comment. Current situation: last week, Trudeau urged democratic nations to cooperate in fostering economic connections throughout Asia to prevent Beijing from playing us off each other in a competition for access to the Chinese market. Canada's most significant trading partner, the United States, will import 77% of its total exports in 2022. With less than 4% of Canada's exports to China last year, China is a distant second. Along with the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, Canada is a part of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing partnership. These nations have all experienced political meddling from the Chinese government. In their most recent joint freedom of navigation exercise, the navies of Canada and the United States navigated warships through the Taiwan Strait over the weekend to undermine Beijing's unilateral claim to control over the strait. Context: during the warm 2010s, Canada's attitude toward Beijing was mainly driven by a desire for deeper trade connections with China. However, after the Chinese government arrested two Canadian citizens in December 2018 as payback for the Canadian government holding senior Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou requesting extradition from the United States, ties between the two countries deteriorated. Michael Kovrig, a former Canadian ambassador, and Michael Spavor, a consultant, were detained for over 1,000 days. Only hours after an agreement between Meng and the U.S. Department of Justice resulted in the release of the Huawei executive, they were charged with espionage and released. What to watch for: by year's end, the Canadian government should establish a foreign agent registration. Australia and the United States have served as role models for government officials. Both nations demand public disclosures from anyone advocating for a foreign government or organization. McQuaig-Johnston stated that any electoral intervention must be stopped before the following election. "We cannot enter the next election with unresolved issues.